Hello, hello, beautiful people. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode in the Sovereign Divinity podcast. And today I have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about some really delicious, yummy stuff. So I hope you are ready and open. I want you to get that earphones on, get ready to receive these teachings and these wisdom. And so our featured guest today is Emmy Mutale. I love her name. She's a beautiful, beautiful goddess, and the work that she's doing is so, so important at this time. So here's a little bit about her. Emmy is an intuitive healer. She's a wisdom keeper, a womb awakening shamana, and a teacher. And she's dedicated to reawakening ancient feminine wisdom. And as a founder of the Feminine Revered, she facilitates deeply transformational healing processes for women of all ages around the world, holding a safe, protected, and non-judgmental space for the emergence of authentic connection, profound knowing, and inner power. Emmy also runs the House of Gaia, a healing and transformation center dedicated to the rise of the divine feminine in Lusaka, Zambia, and hosts a podcast called The Sacred Feminine Power, which you guys need to check out, seriously, where she introduces the voices of soul sisters and brothers dedicated to the path of the divine feminine and stepping into their sacred feminine power in their own unique ways. Welcome, sister. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am delighted to be here with you.
Your work is so important. I feel like in this time, yes, I understand that we need to, like the divine masculine, we need to also nurture as we're nurturing the divine feminine. But I feel like in order for the divine masculine to even get to that point of, okay, now I feel safe to also unravel, the divine feminine needs to be prepared for that. And so it makes a lot of sense why in this time women are being really asked to go into that womb space and take space there and really tap into that deeper power, do the work, yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it there. There's like so much flowing in right now. So let's begin with, what got you started in the work that you're doing?
Well, I have, as long as I can remember, ever since I was a kid, being drawn to the healing arts, being drawn to shamanic practices, being drawn to breath work, being drawn to meditation, being drawn to indigenous wisdom, and in hindsight, also to the power of Mother Earth and our cyclical nature and moon wisdom too. And I started meditating at quite an early age. So as a teenager, I started exploring with meditation. And then in my early 20s, I was starting to learn body work. So for example, Zen Shiatsu. And then my path has just kind of evolved from there. And I've added more and more beautiful, amazing healing modalities onto my own repertoire and always use those modalities also for my own healing. And once I reached a stage where my cup was kind of full and started to overflow, I started to offer the healing practices to others as well, predominantly women, especially at the moment, but to whoever is drawn to the kind of work that I do. So I would say it's been a calling from a very, very early age. And a couple of years ago, I decided to go pretty much full time onto my healing path. And have not looked back since then.
Beautiful. Wow, what a story. So your calling started pretty early and you just kind of flowed with it and evolved with it. That's beautiful. Yeah. So today our topic is going to be, let me make sure I have it right here. It's going to be about the 5 core feminine wounds. I know there's a lot of sisterhood wounds, and that's been part of my journey. Growing up, I've always been comfortable with guys. Like my best friends were 3 guys, and I've always been comfortable with a divine masculine instead. And it's very funny because when people meet me now, they're like, oh my gosh, you must have walked with a divine feminine like your entire life and you've been in touch with your goddess self. It's like, no, I started with a divine masculine because that's where I felt safe. And when I started coming out and really daydreaming about having my own sisterhood and women, and up to now, it's still scary. I'm not going to lie. Is when it comes to that sisterhood bonds, there's something that is, past life lineage, something that makes it uncomfortable. So I'm really glad we're going to have this discussion. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you are so right when you say that there's past life influence there, that there's lineage related influence there, there's ancestral stuff going on. And we're also dealing with the collective experiences of women all
Mm-hmm.
around the world. We carry within our DNA at a very deep cellular level wounding that is in many ways unique to our own life and soul experiences, but also to a certain extent, and this is unique to each individual, inherited from our mothers, from our grandmothers, from our great-grandmothers, and
Yeah.
beyond. And as you said, taken on from past lives as well. So when I talk about the 5 core feminine wounds, I'm referring to a set of, or almost like a package of wounding that is interconnected, interwoven on many, many different levels, but easier to deal with, easier to recognize and heal when you look at it as the 5 core feminine wounds. And these 5 core feminine wounds include the mother wound, which
Mm-hmm.
is on the one hand about your relationship with your own mother and how your relationship with your mother has evolved over time, no matter what your personal circumstances around that are. But it's also about your relationship as a mother, whether you are already a mother, whether you would like to be a mother but have never been able to, or whether you have gone through a loss of a child, whether that is through miscarriage, through abortion, or the early death of a child. So it really goes beyond what we traditionally look at as the mother wound, which is your
Yeah.
relationship with your own mother, and really broadens it out based on my own experiences as a mother and based on my clients' experiences of motherhood as well.
Yes.
The other wound then is the sister wound that you already started opening up. So our relationships with other women around us. And very often we carry wounding around needing to compare ourselves to other women all the time, usually to the
Mm-hmm.
detriment of our own selves.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of backstabbing, a lot of betrayal kinds of issues, pushing each other down rather than lifting each other up. And this wounding, of course, goes way back. We're talking about witch hunts. We're talking about
Yes.
what happened in Egypt. We're talking about
Mm-hmm.
Atlantis. It goes way, way back.
Way
And
back.
all of us, to a certain extent, are carrying levels
Mm-hmm.
of that wounding within ourselves, within our cellular structure. Then we have the body wound, which is on one level, it's about our relationships with our own bodies. So how do we view our own bodies? How do we relate to our bodies? Do we accept our bodies no matter what we look like in the midst of all the pressure that is put on us, especially as women, by the media, by everything that surrounds us in terms of how we should be looking, how we should be behaving, and how we should be dealing with our bodies, looking after our bodies. We live, most of us live in contexts where we exist within a very narrow concept of beauty, very narrow concept of attractiveness. And so many of us spend years and years and years trying to fit into that narrow mold,
Yeah.
spending loads of money, loads of time on beauty products, beauty treatments, often very crazy diets, putting ourselves through horrendous exercise regimes just to try and be a certain way. But it also goes a bit deeper than that. So we're looking at a very structured patriarchal system that is kind of centered around controlling women's bodies. So to give you one example, if you look at the experience of pregnancy and childbirth, it has over time become very medicalized, very
Yeah.
institutionalized, and we have in many ways been told not to trust our bodies.
Yeah.
And pregnancy and childbirth is the one area where we certainly can trust our bodies. Our bodies know
Absolutely.
exactly what we need to do, and they automatically do that for us. It is our thinking often, our brain, and the notions and the beliefs that we take on because of what we are taught and what surrounds us, that we start to doubt the wisdom of our bodies. That is
Yes.
not to say that there are not cases where medical treatment or medical intervention is absolutely necessary, of course.
Of
But on the
course.
whole, we have been really taught not to trust our bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that
And then,
part.
yeah,
Yeah, for
absolutely.
me, like that's been one place that I've always been strong at when it comes to my intuition, when it comes to my body. Growing up, I knew exactly what my body needed. I listened to my
Mm,
body. I knew when I was about to get sick. I knew what my body needed in order to, get out of not getting sick. So eating like fruits with
beautiful.
lots of vitamin C. Back then, I didn't know that that vitamin C. I was young. Now I understand that eating those lemon and eating those oranges, like craving the citrus and like spinach and all like that, those were all like the potent medicine that my body needed. And so like when it comes to my body's wisdom, that's always been so strong for me, like it's been my
Mm,
home. Yeah. But at the same time, this has been like the wounding part, like going deeper, where the wounding and the pain and the mistrust has been accumulated into my body. And now it's like, finally releasing, but I had to go through like stages of forgiveness and even recognizing what the woundings were for it to begin to release its grip on me. So the
yes.
body's wisdom is so important, so important.
Absolutely. And my own journey has involved an eating disorder, which was
Mm,
very much about trying to fit into a certain mold and
yeah.
really just ignoring my own body's needs and desires and what was best for my body in order to be a certain way. Obviously,
Yeah,
eating disorders have, deeper layers of wounding as well that are not just about the shape of your body or certain weight.
exactly.
There's a lot of stuff underlying that as well, but for me, it manifested as that. And it's been a lifelong journey of learning to love my body as the temple that she is and
Yes,
treating her as the queen that she is. And I'm still in that journey. It is not an easy
of
one for me.
course. Yeah. Same here. I'm
Yeah,
still walking that path. It's an ongoing thing, and
yeah,
just I can't wait till we get to that point where it's like, yes, we're here. If ever, or when we get to that point where it's like, okay, I feel good. I feel really good in my body. My body is working with me instead of against me.
yeah,
Or what is wrong with this?
absolutely.
What is wrong with my body? It's like, no, my body is
Yeah.
actually doing good. Okay, let's do this. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. And it's once you have the courage to start working with those wounds, once you have the courage
Mm-hmm.
to start unearthing the stuff that lies underneath it, that's when the growth happens, often in a
Yes.
very exponential way. And especially at the
Mm-hmm.
moment when our world is shifting, our planet is shifting at such an amazing exponential speed as well. So the work we do on ourselves is happening at a much faster pace, I find, as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that
Yeah.
was that the third core wound?
That was the third
Yes.
core wound.
All
So
right.
then we also have the menstruation wound, which is really about our relationship with our moon blood, with our monthly
Oh,
cycle.
that one is
And
delicious.
I love this one. Again, all of this work is based on my own lived experience and learning to heal the wounding that I have carried around this stuff for a long time, often into many other lifetimes. I recognize that
Of
as well.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But the menstruation wound really looks at, number one, it looks at menarche, so the onset of your menstruation. Very often, for quite a few women, that experience can be either scary or embarrassing or shameful. So it's about healing those patterns and turning menarche into the magical, healing, empowering experience it is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because it really initiates you into the magical realm of womanhood, and it should be celebrated. And very often it is
Absolutely.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
And
the
then it
truth.
also, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for many of us, that experience really has left lasting imprints within our system of shame, of embarrassment that then later on lead into us viewing our monthly cycle
Mm.
as a nuisance, as something that you just have to put up with. In some cases, even a curse. And of course, you have cultures where bleeding women are really considered dirty. They are not fit to be in public. They are not allowed to go into holy spaces and so on. In other contexts, we often just see our menstruation as something that is interfering with our lives
Like a
rather
nuisance,
than
yeah.
exactly rather than a sacred part of you being a woman, of being a cyclical being, of being connected to the cycles of the moon, of being connected to the cycles of nature, and being able to harness the absolutely incredible healing potential that our menstruation and our moon blood hold for us.
Oh man. It,
Hmm.
I love my period. I love my menstruation, but that could be because I came from a culture where it was valued and celebrated. You know, I remember my first period, my auntie boiled an egg for me, you know, and that's part of the celebration of it, where the community will usually come together, and you know the new woman, I should say, would be, you know, given a bath in the river and, you know, massaged with like shea butter, have jewelry, and they would march her in the village, and there'll be music and dancing, and there'll be gifts, you know, the king and queen will be there to celebrate her. I mean, it's a big deal, you know. And even now it might be lesser because, you know, in the olden days the woman's boobs will be out so now people are like, oh no, but there might be in some of the villages it might still even be going on. And so this is like what I grew up in. And so I remember my husband, and during my pregnancy, I was like, oh, this is killing me. I haven't had a period in like this long, you know, like 2.5 years. I need my period. And he looks at me, he's like, that's new. That's something I haven't heard before. I love my period. And, you know, again, it makes a lot of difference, you know, like if you are in a community that celebrates that, you know. But
Yes.
if you aren't, and you're surrounded by women who think it's a nuisance, or, you know, all of the other stuff that comes with that, then that's what you're going to pick up on. So I think it's a really great conversation, and
Yeah.
especially for the new women to start to learn that, hey, your period is your power, right? Yeah.
Exactly, absolutely. And when you were describing the rite of passage or the ritual that your
Yes.
community takes new women through, I had goosebumps all over me because it reminds me so much of a guided journey that I take the women that I work with on in terms of just reliving and reshaping their experience of menarche. So that was beautiful to hear. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing.
that's so cool. Of course, my pleasure. My pleasure. So yeah, tell
Yeah.
me more. Tell me more about this wound of menstruation.
Well, it really is about understanding where your wounding around menstruation lies, and then working on the exact situations that you have experienced in your life, and learning different kinds of rituals and self-love exercises and practices that allow you to start to appreciate your monthly bleed, that allow you to really start to work with the cyclical nature and to start to work with the moon cycles as well.
You know, as you were talking, I had like a flashback of during my teenage. I think it was probably, it started like 13. I had my period 13, so like 14, 15, 16, probably all the way to like maybe 20s, where my period was very painful. Like it was so painful that I would create my own corner in the house and just stay there. And
Yeah.
I didn't want anyone to touch me or come into my space. But now it makes sense because at that point I was not in my body. I was rejecting being here. You know, I was like, I was so mad at the divine for being here. I was still fighting with the divine for being here. So being in my body, I was like rebelling, and I did not want to be here. So having like that painful period, it was like a way for me to like be pulled back into my body, and I resisted, so then it became even more painful for me. Yeah, that's like something that just popped in and connecting. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the more consciously we start to work with our menstruation, already as a young new woman, the more the pain starts to subside. And you really start to see your monthly bleeding as a blessing and as a
Absolutely.
portal into wisdom.
Yeah.
Mm.
I miss my period. I can't wait for it to come. I cannot wait. Come back after breastfeeding, it's
Oh
starting to come
yeah.
back, but because of breastfeeding, it's kind of like, okay, maybe not this month. Okay, maybe next month. I'm like, oh, just come,
Mm.
please.
Keep calling,
Yeah,
keep calling.
exactly. But there is such a
Yeah.
beauty in working with your monthly cycle. And again, like you said, with the moon cycle, connecting all of those. And this one thing I've been diving into recently is your period and business, like productivity. And it absolutely
Yes.
blows my mind. Like that's something that we're not taught when we're younger. Like, hey, you can use your period to actually become successful. Nobody told us
Absolutely.
that. Our mothers didn't know that. Their mothers didn't know that. Maybe somewhere down the road, someone knew that. But, that disconnection kind of, what word am I looking for? It kind of
Got
stole.
disconnected. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It kind of
Yeah.
deprived us of some good quality wisdom, with our
Yeah.
bodies. So I'm really glad that you're talking about this topic now and teaching, especially the younger ones, so that they can grow up not being afraid of it and really harnessing their power. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super, super important. Yeah.
So what's the next wounding?
So the fifth one, the
I'm so
fifth wound,
curious.
yeah, that's the womb wound.
Mm,
So it goes deep into your womb space. And it is really centered again around the notion and the fact that we have, to a large extent, become very disconnected from our womb spaces. We have forgotten that our wombs are magical places of creation. Our wombs are magical places of healing, and they contain portals into ancient feminine wisdom, into multidimensional wisdom. And the more we learn to work consciously with our wombs, the more our own sacred feminine power grows, the more our wisdom grows, and the more we can start to manifest into our lives as well. Our womb spaces are real powerhouses, sacred powerhouses. And at the same time, we also carry a lot of our wounding within our womb spaces. So, especially wounding around unhealthy sexual relationships,
mm-hmm.
any sexual acts that have not been carried out in the highest good and the highest potential.
Yeah.
All of that kind of stays imprinted within our womb spaces and is stuck there until we start to work with it and start to heal it in a conscious way. So when you look at illnesses, fibromyalgia and other womb-related illnesses are often the result of wounding, especially sexual-related wounding, but also wounding around creativity overall,
Mm-hmm.
wounding around motherhood patterns, wounding around recreation, and
Yeah.
so on. So again, the more consciously we work with our womb spaces and start to tap into our womb's wisdom, the more we raise our vibration on this planet.
Absolutely. It kind of sounds like, and I'm going to have you review the kind of name all five of them, but it felt like it went from, I don't want to say surfacey, but it went from the surface and it went all the way deeper. Like as you go through the woundings. I'm not sure if that's how it works. That's kind of like the
Well,
vision I was seeing. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, of course, you have very deep layers of wounding with each one of them. So with the mother
Yeah,
wound already, you can go really deep, and
that's
because you're going to
true.
be processing ancestral patterns, lineage patterns, it can go really, really deep. But I think it becomes more and more embodied as you go further down working with the wounds. And I usually talk about them in this order because the womb wound tends to be the one that we are least likely to work with, just simply because we don't
Mm,
realize that there might be wounding there. I mean, from my
yes.
own experience, I was very disconnected from my own womb space, despite having had 2 kids and being
Yeah.
pregnant 3 times. I have been very disconnected from my womb space and also from my pelvic region overall, which is all part of this sacred cauldron that all women carry inside of us. Because
Yeah.
I had an injury to my sacrum and my hip area when I was 18. And in hindsight, I had been kind of avoiding working with this area because of the experiences I'd gone through.
Yeah.
Once I started to consciously work with my pelvic area, my hips, my womb cauldron, as I like to call it,
Yes.
wow, stuff really started to open up. And the energies that I was starting to tap into, the wisdom that I was starting to tap into, just made my own healing work so much deeper and so much more powerful. And it's a massive part of all the other wounds that I've been describing as well. As I said, they are interconnected, but a lot
Yes.
of it does, in the end, come down into your womb space.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So let's go ahead and review 5 of them again. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you've got the mother wound, the sister wound, the body wound, the menstruation wound, and then you've got the womb wound. So this is kind of like a collection of wounding that I have coined together because based on my own experience, based on the experience of women that I have worked with in different parts of
Yes.
the world, these seem to be the core wounds that all of us, at least on some level, deal with. Sometimes we're not even conscious of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we carry this wounding in a very subconscious way. But once you start to work with it, you realize that there's actually a lot of deep stuff going on within you that really is desiring to come to the surface to be healed. And of course, you will then, once you start to work with the wounds, you start to discover the hidden blessings and the treasures within each of
Yes.
those wounds as well.
Yes, absolutely. Oh man, this is incredible. This is like really important wisdom you're bestowing upon us. I've always, like the way you've put in has kind of just helped me connect everything. You know, like I've heard about the mother wound, I've heard about the sisterhood wound, but you know, like even the body wound, I never thought about that, even though that's like one of the you know, one of the, all of them are important, but that's like one of the most physical ones because it's right here, you know. The womb is inside, sisterhood is like, you know, but there's like physical bodies like right here, and I never thought about that, that would be a core wound, and it's definitely true, you know, definitely something that we're dealing with right now. So thank you for allowing that wisdom to come through you and teaching everyone about these powerful ways of healing. You know, especially if we want to really do the deeper work, we need to dive in. We need to be strong and courageous in diving into these areas. You know, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not always easy work. This is, I call it hardcore healing because
Yes.
I take, when I take my clients on, I call it healing and transformation journeys, and
Yes.
we go deep. So it's not work that is always comfortable because you are
Exactly.
going to be facing your shadow, you are going to be facing your wounding. But for me, it is I would say the kind of healing work that gives you the most, the one that allows you really to grow the most. And
Yes.
I like the word for some reason at the moment. I like using the word exponentially. But when you
Yes.
start to work with these wounds, you are exponentially growing. You are exponentially developing as yourself. And
Yes.
you are growing towards and reclaiming your true essence, who you have always been. And now you're really remembering who you've
Yeah.
always been.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. There's something else coming in. Oh yes, the when you start, or if yeah, when you start the journey of deep core healing, I think it's important to work with someone. This is where, you know, I get people like, oh, I can do this myself. I can read all these books. But when you work with someone, that person becomes a mirror for you to see what you could not see, you know. And so I really invite you guys, if you're feeling this work, to really contact Emmy. And I'll put all her information in the show notes. Don't worry, and get in touch with her, and let's start doing this work. You know, everything, all the energies that are going on, like she was talking about, it's actually supporting us to do these inner work. Before in the 3D, this would have been grueling for you. In 5D, things are much lighter. We have so much divine support that once you decide to start working on this, all the support you need will show up for you to go through this. The way I put it is like with as much ease and grace as possible, because the universe really wants you to get through this and get to where you want to be. So by you listening to this, if you get activated and you hear the call, the yes, please contact her. Let's do the work together. Let's really, let's step into our higher being, our higher self, the best that we can ever be, so that we can enjoy this life to the fullest. That's why we came here as a human, so yeah. So my love, you have a gift for us. What would you like to share with us?
So I will be sharing a womb clearing meditation, which
Thank
is
you.
a yes. So it's a brief meditation, but it's powerful in the sense that no matter what is happening around you, no matter what life is throwing at you, you are able to do this meditation and go pretty deep into your womb space, so you can start to experience what it is like to connect with your womb and to feel into the energies within your womb space, and how you can then bring in energy from Mother Earth or from the cosmic womb up in the celestial realms to bring in more harmony and more peace and balance into yourself any time of the day, and pretty much no matter where you are. So it's really a way of finding more ease and grace, as you said, in any moment.
Is so needed. So thank you for sharing this with us. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that the more you start to work with your wounding and the deeper you go into, especially working with your womb space, the more you start to realize how much support you truly have. You mentioned that you are not alone, and through your womb and through your third eye, as the veils are being lifted, and we are starting to see more and more of what is truly happening on our planets and what is truly possible on our planets, the more we also start to access the wisdom of guides. And these guides could be your ancestors. They could be through your lineage, your blood lineage, or through your spiritual lineage. Or these guides could also be goddesses. They could be beings from other star realms. They could be remembrances, recollections from planetary existences in different galaxies. So the possibilities are endless. And once you start to do this work, it really blows your mind in many, many ways, because the portals are just opening, and you really do get the sense that you are never, ever alone. And you will get the support that you need when you ask.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. So we're ready. We're ready to dive in.
Great.
So yeah, go for it. Walk us through the meditation.
Oh, sorry, you would like me to do it now? Okay, absolutely.
It's like perfect timing for it. Like how you,
Absolutely.
let's
Okay.
go right in there.
Let's dive straight in. Okay. So if it feels good and safe for you to do so, you can place one hand over your heart and one hand over your womb space, and close your eyes. And just take a couple of deep, deep breaths, allowing your body to come fully present in this moment. And breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. And as you're breathing out, you can also let out a sigh, just to release any tension that you might be feeling and allowing your body to relax. And as you keep breathing, bringing your awareness to your beautiful body, to your beautiful temple, allowing that breath to release any tension, any worries, any doubts that you might be feeling. Just allow your breath to take those away. And then allow your awareness to drift deeper inside you, into your womb space, deep inside your lower belly. Just bring your awareness to this beautiful dark velvety space deep inside you. And as you do so, just feel into the energies inside your womb right in this moment. How does your womb space feel like? What are the energies like? What color are you picking up as you focus on your womb space? And then imagine this beautiful column of light starting to form inside your womb space. Beautiful golden light starting to first swirl inside your womb space and then turning into a column that stretches downwards all the way down into Mother Earth. Just feel this column of golden light streaming down from your womb space all the way to the core of Mother Earth. And as you reach the core of Mother Earth, you see that there is this beautiful pulsating quartz crystal at the very center, at the very core of Mother Earth. And it's pulsating with this healing, powerful healing energy. And you start to draw in this healing energy from Mother Earth into your womb space through this column. As you breathe in, you are drawing in this beautiful pulsating energy from Mother Earth's womb, Gaia's womb space. And you're drawing that energy into your own womb space, allowing it to mingle with your energy, clearing, cleansing, bringing in healing and balance. And just notice how the energies in your womb space are starting to shift and change with the energy from Mother Earth. And then allow this column of golden light start to expand upwards, up, up, all the way up to the skies, all the way up to the great cosmic womb, the primordial dark hole, black hole. The birther of all of us. Allow your column to expand all the way up to her and feel the energies up in the cosmic womb. Feel them pulsating. And as you breathe, you start to bring in the energy from the great cosmic womb downwards into your own womb space. Feeling these powerful energies of creation inside your own womb space. Swirling, clearing, cleansing, mingling with your energy, mingling with the energy of Mother Earth, swirling around inside your own seat of wisdom, seat of knowing, seat of power. And as you're breathing, just start to loop that energy from all the way down from Mother Earth into your womb space, up to the cosmic womb, and then down again. Now this loop could be an oval one, could be the infinity sign, whatever feels safe and aligned for you. And just for a little while, as you're breathing, keep looping that energy through your womb space, down to Mother Earth, and up to the cosmic womb. And as you are looping that energy, remember that you are never ever alone. That there is infinite potential and infinite wisdom and infinite healing powers within you. And then slowly allow that column to start to come back inside your womb space. So you're pulling it down from the cosmic womb, and you're pulling it up from Mother Earth. And feel that golden light inside your womb space for a little bit longer. Breathe into your womb space. Thank her for being there. And even if you may not have a physical womb space anymore, you can work with her energy. And know that you can connect with this energy anytime you like. And when it feels good to do so at your own pace, you can slowly bring your awareness back to your body, back to the surface that you're sitting or lying down on. You wiggle your fingers and your toes a little bit, feel into your body. And slowly, slowly, when you feel ready, open your eyes.
That was so delicious and yummy. Thank you so much. And so
Thank
needed.
you.
And your voice is so soothing. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
It is so relaxing. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. And one of the things that showed up for me is the symbol of angelic wings. That's kind of like what after everything like came back to the room, and it just left like the angelic wings in there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And it connects you with your fallopian tubes and your ovaries then as well in a beautiful way. The shape of the
Ah,
wings. Yeah.
there we go. That was very
There we
powerful.
go.
I'm gonna be doing this more often because yeah, that was really good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, the more often you can do this kind of meditation, the more you feel connected to Mother Earth, which is hugely important, especially in our current times. And
Yes.
then, of course, to celestial wisdom, which more and more of us are really awakening to.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I hope you guys enjoyed this meditation too. Emmy, tell us how, if someone wants to work with you, how can they do that?
Well, you can get in touch with me through my website, which is www.femininerevered.com, or through my Facebook site, which is The Feminine Revered. And you can just send me a message or email me, and I will come back to you as soon as I can. I will be running a free 5-day online activation, which is really all about sacred feminine power and using our womb wisdom in different ways towards the end of June or early July. So I will also be posting information about that on my website and on my Facebook site. And you can also join my newsletter if you'd like. There's a link at my website to do so. And as you mentioned in the beginning, I have a podcast as well, Sacred Feminine
Yes.
Power, where I'm excited to be featuring you at some point, Abigail, as well. So if you are curious to learn more about these kinds of topics and themes, I'm bringing in the voices of both women and men who are
Yes.
dedicated to the path of divine feminine power and truly stepping into their own power in their own unique ways in all over the world, really. So that's
Exactly.
also a beautiful forum to start to learn more about these topics and get wisdom from many, many other people as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, beautiful listeners, thank you for tuning into this week's episode. And thank you, Emmy, for joining me for this divine chat. And I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to having more chats with you in the future. So
Yeah.
let's keep in touch. Absolutely. So thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
everybody. Yeah, and talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.